Hey folks, Lenny Lawson, the car guru, right here with you. Excited about what I have to talk about today. I'm a little bit angry. I'm angry about Google ratings and how they are abused by a lot of dealers. I'm going to give you a little insight into what happens when it comes to Google ratings for car dealers. Again, there are good car dealers and there are bad car dealers. There's no semi-good or semi-bad. The really bad ones often will have overall Google ratings in the 4.5 range. But if you scan those ratings and really go down through there, if you see a bunch of 5 stars, more than likely those were paid for. Now that's unethical, isn't it? To say, hey folks, before you leave, if you would just go in and give us a 5-star Google rating, we'll pay you an extra $100. Oh, sure, we'll do that. See, they haven't had the chance to even evaluate what they've got. They're still in a state of euphoria. And this is what happens. Here's the trick. Scroll down until you see the 1-star ratings. Don't look at the 5-star ratings. Look at the 1 stars and read them. Why is it 1 star? Was it something simple like, well, we couldn't get waited on. They were too busy and it took a while for the salespeople to come out and greet us, so we left. 1 star. That's understandable for a business, like on a busy Saturday or Friday where you don't have enough salespeople to wait on the customers. And some people won't like that. I understand that. Or was it because, maybe they didn't get their tags fast enough for them? And that really upset them because they were going on vacation, had to go on vacation with a temporary tag. That happens, okay? That's not really a reason, I don't think, to give somebody 1 star. But some people will. They'll rate you down because of something like that. Our Google ratings are 4.8, and that's out of a possible score of 5.0. And I scroll down through there, and if I see one, there aren't any 1 stars, but if I see any that are like 3 or something like that, it's usually something pretty, just some type of an administrative thing, something minor, something that we need to tune up. I get it. But you don't see the ones where the customers are saying, we were in there for 5 hours. They promised us our payment would be $500 a month. And when we got our first payment book, it was $750 a month. That's worthy of a 1 star. That's one you want to pay attention to. Or I went in to cancel a warranty. We decided to cancel our warranty because we couldn't afford it. And so I went in and they said, no problem. 2 months later, it's still not canceled and nobody will talk to me. Or I got a piece of mail saying that I'd won a big screen TV or something else, a bunch of other prizes. I went in, had no intentions of buying a car, but they hit me with the pressure. And I have never felt so uncomfortable in my life, and I didn't win anything, and I'm just upset because of what they put me through. Now, what am I doing? I'm not making these up. I'm summarizing them, but this is what you will see with a dealership that has problems. And their problem basically is about their ethics or their lack of ethics. When you see a dealership that has massive addendums on their vehicles where, you have a price online for a vehicle. It's brand new. It says that you can buy it for let's see, MSRP $23,760. There's a discount of $6,709, gets it down to $17,051. That's a pretty cheap new car, isn't it? Well, then you scroll down to the disclaimer, which practically nobody does. Oh, what is the disclaimer? That's the fine print. What the large print giveth, the fine print taketh away. I don't think that's in Proverbs, but it probably should be. So, yeah, this disclaimer or fine print says that there are in addition to the price that they have on their website for that particular vehicle, you've got to add back $4,974 to that price. So, that discount really isn't much of a discount anymore. And what are those ads for? Well, there's about $1,000 doc fee, processing fee. Let's see, protection package, marketing margin, and nitrogen. So these are things that are added to the price of a car. Now, there are a lot of dealers that do this. You need to find them before you do business with them. You need to seek them. All you have to do is go to their website, check out their prices, and then scroll down to the disclaimer, the fine print. If they've got a bunch of fine print, now let's say that they have a processing fee or a documentary fee. Okay, all dealers have that now. They range anywhere from $500 to $1,000. That's just the way well, I take that back. There's in larger cities, they're upwards of $1,500 now. Okay, as long as you know that. But what about addendums? What about other charges? What about something called marketing margin? What's that? Or sometimes it's called market value adjustment. What is that? That's just extra markup the dealer has slapped on his vehicles that allows him to discount his vehicles more. So if I've got $5,000 in additional charges in the fine print, and I'm showing a $6,700 discount up where the MSRP is, and then I have a discount, and then I have a net price, then really I'm only discounting my car about $1,700. I'm not discounting at $6,700. The rest of it's just fluff. Is that legal? Unfortunately, in the state of Tennessee, it's illegal. It may or may not be legal in your state. There's a lot of dealers that do illegal things. It may not be legal in your country, if you're listening in some other country. But there are a lot of state laws, and there are some federal laws that dealers flaunt regularly just in the interest of profit, just taking advantage of customers, and they don't care. They see this as a game. And so your only defense against that is to read the fine print and to be very skeptical when you walk into a car dealership to buy a car. I hate that it has to be that way. One of the best things to do, and I've said this many times, is to get a quote. Forget about what they're saying on their website. Pick a stock number of a vehicle that you like. Make sure you like all the options. And get them to put a full quote in writing, which includes all fees, all extra charges, and have them either email it to you or fax it to you with a statement that this is the final price and there will be no additional charges. I've heard of people driving all the way to Alabama or Illinois or some dealership in some far-off land thinking that they had a deal. And when they get there, everything changes. Maybe they sold the car. Even when they leave a deposit, they'll sell a car. What are you going to do about that? What are you going to do to them? That you have no power over them. You can't. Well, I guess you could sue them. But who wants to do that? Who wants to mess with that? You're just trying to buy a new car. But these practices are rampant, and you have to be diligent when it comes to dealing with these people. But you can spot them. Check out their Google ratings. Just scroll down, look at them. And when you get with a 1-star, read that one. You see another 1-star, read that one, because that's who they really are. I'll be back in just 1 minute. Okay, I am back. So let's review real quickly. So what are you going to do first? If you're shopping online, you're going to check their Google ratings, and you're going to look for the ones. You're going to ignore the 5 stars. You're going to look for the 1 stars, because the 1 stars are who they really are. And then you are going to look at particular vehicles on their website, see the price, and then you're going to scroll down to the fine print or the disclaimer, as it's often referred to, and you're going to read that. And if there's anything added back other than taxes, tags, registration, and a processing or doc fee, you're just not going to go to that dealership, because that says everything about who they are and how they operate. They're already lying to you on their website, of all things. It's right out there in public. But the public doesn't do what I say. They don't read the disclaimer. They say, oh, there's a great price. They're so much cheaper than you, Lenny. No, they're not. Read the disclaimer. Okay, so what are the other traps that I'm going to try to keep you out of? Well, the first one is called the Foursquare trap, and it's just a negotiating ploy, and it's designed to get you to focus on the monthly payment, which is the wrong thing to focus on. You want to hit the 4 targets as I describe in the My Car Guru guidebook. Negotiate the selling price, negotiate the trade value, negotiate the terms of the loan, and the aftermarket items, all separately. Don't lump them all together and just look at a monthly payment. Well, the Foursquare is a negotiating tool. I mean, I learned how to do this, 30 years ago. And I decided, that's deceptive. I'm not going to do that in my dealership. I can see how it would really increase or potentially increase gross profits and selling prices of cars because people don't know what they're paying for the car. They focus on the monthly payment. And it's real easy to pack payments that way. And I said, no, thank you. And so we decided to disclose everything, including the sales tax and any fees that we had, anything that the customer had agreed to buy, including tags and registration and all that, so that they could see what they're really paying for the car. But there are still a lot of dealers that use Foursquare, and you'll know it when they come to you and there's a blank piece of paper and they put a vertical line in the middle and they basically divide the page into 4 boxes. And then they start presenting the numbers to you in that way. And they want you to focus on the bottom right-hand box, which is focused on down payment and the monthly payment. That's all they want you thinking about, because that's what affects people the most initially, is how much do they have to pull out of their pocket and pay as far as down payment is concerned, and how much is their first monthly payment going to be? And how far in the distance can that be before I have to make it? Can we postpone the payment for 90 days? Folks, if you are extremely worried about those kind of things, maybe you shouldn't be buying a new car right now. Or maybe you don't need to be spending that much. So if you see a salesperson whooping out a blank piece of paper and dividing it into 4 boxes, just tell them to stop right there. Say, I'm not doing that. I want to see what we can buy the car for. And then we'll talk about my trade-in, what you're going to pay me for my trade. And then we'll talk about how much money I plan to pay down and what the monthly payments are going to be based on that, those 2 numbers, and my payoff if it's involved. Because that's the way you buy a car, folks. That's the way you buy anything, really. I mean, you go to Walmart and you walk up to the Legos like I did this weekend for my grandkids, and there's this box that has this really cool Formula One garage with 2 Formula One race cars, and Henry just loved it, so I pulled it off, and it was $19.99. And I know that Walmart isn't going to negotiate, and so I'm okay with that. I'll pay $19.99 to make Henry happy. Now, if they had some kind of payment on there, I could, instead of paying $19.99, I can buy it for $2.58 a month for 48 months. I'd say, I'd rather pay $2.48 than $19.95. I mean, that's a whole lot easier to swallow. I mean, that's just basically some French fries at McDonald's. Yeah, I'll do the financing deal. And so I sign up for that and having no idea what I'm paying for those Legos. Do you see what I'm talking about? That's no way to buy a car either. So beware of the Foursquare trap. The other trap that a lot of buyers fall in, and a lot of this is driven by pure emotion. You want to buy it today. The dealership wants you to buy it today. What you need to do is be ready to walk away. Don't buy today. Go home and think about it. Have them print out a buyer's order that has all the breakdown on the selling price, the trade, all the things that we've talked about. You know what the interest rate is. You've got the monthly payments. Not that you're not willing to go back in the next day and negotiate some more, which you probably will do after you talk to me. If you call me at 423-552-2020 and we review your buyer's order and I look up what they're paying for your trade-in and what they're selling you the car for, I can say, hey, that looks like a pretty good deal to me. or you are getting your head taken off. This is a terrible deal. You don't need to go back there. You just need to go someplace else, or tell them that this is what you're willing to do. See, that's the value of having a car person in your corner, a car guru even. And we can do all this by text. Just send me your picture of your deal sheet, 423-552-2020. I'll analyze it and send you my response. That's not hard. But yeah, this is a serious trap. I have to buy it today. Folks, you are going to buy today, right? No, we're not buying today. How come? And then some other manager comes and talks to you, and that doesn't work. He can't convince you. And then another manager comes to talk to you, and that doesn't work. And they're all scratching their heads, trying to figure out, what can we do to make these people buy today? But you just got to take that momentum away from them. The momentum of a deal, it works against the consumer because the dealership is really good at taking advantage of emotionalism, create as much want as possible, and get the buyer to forget about their needs, forget about the constraints that they have as far as budget is concerned or timing or whatever. They need to take that thing today. So you also have to be ready to walk if the salesperson talks over you, ignores what you're saying. They're not listening. You can tell, right? They try to steer you towards something that you didn't come to see. You know why he's doing that, don't you? It's because the one he's trying to show you has a bonus on it. If he sells that particular car, he gets a $1,500 bonus because it's been there over 300 days. Well, he doesn't tell you that. He just tells you what a great buy it is and why you should consider this instead of that. But that's not what you want. That's not the color you want. It doesn't have a sunroof. It doesn't have the features that you need. But he's going to do everything he can to get you to buy it because that's the best deal on the lot. But you don't need to worry about the deal. You need to get the right car first and then worry about the deal. And a couple other bad signs if they ask you what your target payment is. Real early in the process, what kind of monthly payment you guys looking for? Don't ever answer that question unless you just say this. The monthly payment is irrelevant at this point. We want to find the right car, and then we want to get the best price we can on that car, and then we'll move forward from there or not. Is that fair enough, Mr. Salesperson? Like I say, you can be nice but firm. Don't let them control you. You control them. And then finally, if the dealership, the atmosphere there looks more like a carnival than a business, we put balloons up at Gateway. I mean, it's a festive thing. But if they've got balloons up and they have police tape up and they have a money machine in the showroom and there's a bunch of tables all over the place and a bunch of strange-looking salespeople out there smoking and scratching and just leering at people as they come in, that's a bad sign. It really is. If you just get out of your car and just kind of stand there and look around, you look over and you see about 8 salespeople just looking right at you at one time. They're wondering who their next victim is going to be. That's the way they look at you. I swear it is. It's sad. Okay, I'll be back in just 1 minute. Okay, I am back. Here's one more word of caution for those of you who have marginal to bad credit, and they can't finalize the paperwork today. You've decided, for better or worse, that you want to buy that car. Let's say that you've negotiated it correctly. You hit the 4 targets square on the head, and you really did get a good deal. But they say, well, we don't have it approved yet, but we're pretty sure that we will, so we're just going to go ahead and let you have it. Put the brakes on right there and say, no, thank you. I don't want to take it home until I know it's mine. Oh, yeah, we're 99% sure that it's going to get done. This is called a spot delivery. And here's what's going to happen. Let's say that you take delivery of the car on a Saturday. When you come back to sign the final paperwork on Monday, everything will have changed. The amount of money that you're having to pay down will go up. The amount that the monthly payment is going to go up. Some of the things that you really wanted, Let's say you really wanted an extended warranty. Nope, that's going away because they can't get it financed. They can't get the bank to carry it, as they say. So everything has changed, and you're all upset, but you've been driving that car all weekend, and your neighbors have seen it, and you showed it to your grandmother, and they're so proud of you and everything. You don't want to disappoint everybody, so you just go ahead and sign up. No. Negotiations start over. Let's go back to square one, Mr. Salesperson. I'm not doing this. I'm not paying this extra payment. You're going to have to cut the price on the car. You're going to have to give me more for my trade. You're going to have to cut the interest rate because I'm not paying $624 a month for 84 months at 17%. I may have bad credit, and I was born at night, but I was not born last night. So you're going to have to get your pencil sharp. You ever heard that saying? You better sharpen your pencil. That means cut the price. Find something that you can do. I'm done doing. Your turn to do. Get me approved by somebody else, or I'm leaving. I'll find another car. They'll scramble. They'll get it done, but not if you don't ask. You see, they think they have the leverage because you've been out in the car. They've assumed that you really, really want it. And I've actually heard some horror stories where the customer was told, say, well, folks, we've already sold your trade-in. And if they told me that, I'd say, well, you better get it back. You're going to break somebody's heart, or I'm going to go get a lawyer. You threaten to sue us? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. Go get my car. I want my car and my keys. I know it's parked out back. Just go get it. You haven't sold it to anybody. You would probably know this about that dealership if you had checked their Google ratings, the 1 stars. See, people that are really, really upset, they won't give you any. If they could give you 0 stars, they would. But there's no option to give 0, so they just give you 1. And then they tell the story of why they're giving that dealer a 1. And that's why you need to read the Google ratings. Skip through all the good ones, because the bad ones are who they really are. If you have any questions about this kind of stuff, give me a call, 423-552-2020, or send me an email to lennylawson2020@gmail.com, and I'll send you a copy of the My Car Guru guidebook, which explains all this stuff in detail. Okay, I'll see you next time on the next My Car Guru.